आ जाओ। स्टार्ट कीजिएगा मोबाइल से। कीजिएगा।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Namra Mahmood, and today's topic of SGD is central nervous system. So the first topic we have to cover is meningitis. What is meningitis? Meningitis is defined as an inflammation of the meninges covering the brain and spinal cord. You all know that meninges are the covering of brain and the extension of brain, that is spinal cord. So meningitis is inflammation of that covering, that is called meninges. And the inflammation of those meninges is called meningitis. Meningitis is an inflammatory process of the leptomeninges and CSF within the subarachnoid space. So what are the causes of meningitis? The causes may be multiple. There may be multiple causes of meningitis. So meningitis can be of pyogenic meningitis, which is caused by bacterial infection. Then it can be aseptic meningitis, that is caused by viral infection. The asepsis means there is no growth on culture plates. Whenever there is no growth on culture plates, we consider it as aseptic meningitis, so that the bacterial invasion is ruled out. So this is viral meningitis. Then another type is chemical meningitis, the meningitis that is caused by a foreign body or a non-bacterial irritant introduced into subarachnoid space. Then chronic meningitis that is caused by tuberculosis, spirochetal or cryptococcal causes. What is cryptococcus? It is a fungus. Rickettsial meningitis, meningitis caused by parasitic or protozoal infections, physical injury, or by cancer. Severity and treatment of illness differ depending on the cause. Thus, it is important to know the specific cause of meningitis. So the treatment differs with the different types of meningitis. What is pyogenic meningitis? The causes of pyogenic meningitis is divided by the age groups. So in neonates, the words you can see, the names of the organisms you can see in blue color. These are the organisms that are the most, the most occurring or the most frequently found organisms in these age groups. So in neonatal age group, group B, Streptococcus is found most commonly, then E. coli, and then Listeria monocytogenes. In young children, Streptococcus pneumoniae is the most common cause. Neisseria meningitidis and Haemophilus influenzae can also cause meningitis. In adolescents and young individuals, Neisseria meningitidis is the most commonly found organism. Then Streptococcus and then Haemophilus influenzae type B. In older individuals, Streptococcus pneumoniae is the most common organism, and Neisseria and Listeria monocytogenes can also cause this infection. So, students, the most, remember this thing, that in all age groups, the positive organism for meningitis is Streptococcus pneumoniae, except in neonates, in which group B, Streptococcus, is the main cause, and in adolescents, in which Neisseria is the most frequent cause of meningitis. Except neonatal and the adolescent age group, all the rest of the age groups are more prone with the with Streptococcus pneumoniae meningitis. So what are the clinical presentations, or how the patient can clinically present to you? The patient can present with severe headache, photophobia, fever, neck stiffness, irritability, clouding of consciousness, altered mental status, vomiting. There may be variation in clinical presentation due to type of pathogen, patient age, host, and immune status. Pathogenesis. whenever there is bacterial entry into the blood by any route, the survival of bacteria in blood and transportation via circulation into the central nervous system and entry of bacteria into the CSF and multiplication in subarachnoid space can lead to increased permeability of blood-brain barrier. And the transendothelial migration of granulocytes and monocytes, we all know whenever there is inflammation or infection, there is transmigration of granulocytes and monocytes due to increased permeability or the leaky vessels. So there is increase of cytokines and prostaglandins, and the leakage of plasma proteins can lead to cerebral edema, increased intracranial pressure, and impaired circulation. The increased cerebral edema, increased intracranial pressure, these can lead to headache, photophobia, vomiting in the patients of meningitis. So the phases of inflammatory process include alteration, exudation, cell proliferation, and renewal of the damaged tissue. The main components of acute and chronic inflammatory responses are circulating cells and proteins, cells of blood vessels, cells and proteins of the extracellular matrix. What is the morphology that you can see in the patient of pyogenic meningitis? The exudate is evident within the leptomeninges over the surface of the brain, as you can see in the picture on the top right side. Vessels are engorged. You can see in the picture also that the vessels are engorged. Location of the exudate varies. In H. influenzae, Haemophilus influenzae, the location of exudate is basal. In pneumococcal meningitis, densest over cerebral cortices near the sagittal sinus. In fulminant meningitis, inflammation may extend to the ventricles and can cause ventriculitis. Microscopic picture, in microscopy, you can see neutrophils fill the subarachnoid space in severely affected areas, predominantly around leptomeningeal blood vessels. In less severe cases, and focal cerebritis can be seen, and leptomeningeal fibrosis and hydrocephalus follow pyogenic meningitis. What is aseptic meningitis? Aseptic meningitis is caused by viral viruses. Meningeal irritation, fever, alteration of consciousness of relatively acute onset without recognizable organisms. It is self-limiting and it is treated symptomatically. On lumbar puncture, there may be increased lymphocytes. As you know, in viral infections, lymphocytes are increased. Moderate protein elevation and normal glucose content are seen. While in bacterial meningitis, the glucose content is low. In viral meningitis, there is normal glucose content of CSF on lumbar puncture. 70% cases may show the invasion by enteroviruses, and there is no distinctive macroscopic or microscopic characteristics. In chronic meningitis, we are only focusing on tuberculous meningitis. On morphology, on gross, you can see subarachnoid space contains a gelatinous or fibrinous exudate, most often at the base of the brain, obliterating the cisterns and encasing cranial nerves. There may be discrete white granules scattered over the leptomeninges. Meningoencephalitis, it is the most common pattern of involvement. On microscopy, you can see mixture of lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophages. Florid cases show well-formed granulomas, caseous necrosis, and giant cells. You know, wherever there is tuberculous infection, you can see granulomas, caseous necrosis, and giant cells. As you can see in this microscopic picture, this is caseous necrosis, and these are the giant cells. I hope you can see them clearly. Caseous necrosis is surrounded by typical tuberculous granulomatous reaction. Calcification may also occur in inactive lesions. Mycobacterium tuberculosis may also result in single or multiple well circumscribed intraparenchymal masses, which are called tuberculomas. Chronic tuberculous meningitis is the cause of arachnoid fibrosis, which may produce hydrocephalus. Remember, there may be fibrosis, arachnoid fibrosis in chronic tuberculous meningitis patients, which can lead to hydrocephalus. So how we can differentiate different types of meningitis caused by different types of organisms on the basis of CSF examination. So normally there are 0 to 4 lymphocytes, 0 to 4 lymphocytes found in CSF. The protein content is this, glucose is this, and there is clear appearance of a normal CSF. In septic causes, septic means bacterial causes. In bacterial causes of meningitis, there are more polymorphs, means there are more neutrophils, and the protein content is high, the glucose is low. Why glucose is low? Because bacteria eats glucose. So whenever bacteria eats glucose, the glucose content of CSF goes low. And the appearance is turbid. Why it is turbid? Because bacteria produces pus and it changes the color of CSF, and the color of CSF becomes turbid. So whenever you do lumbar puncture, you can see the turbidity of CSF, and on microscopy you see more neutrophils. In viral meningitis, lymphocytes are more. We know there is more lymphocytes whenever there is viral infection. So there are more lymphocytes. Protein content is high. Glucose content is normal. You can compare the in bacterial meningitis, the glucose content was low because bacteria eats glucose, and in viral meningitis, the glucose levels are normal in the CSF, and the appearance is clear. Appearance is clear. So whenever there is you do lumbar puncture, the appearance of the CSF is very important. In tuberculous or chronic meningitis, there are more lymphocytes, high protein content, low glucose level, and opalescent cobweb appearance of the CSF. So coming towards the question, a 6 years old child presents with fever and alteration of consciousness mass, which is acute in onset, along with headache and photophobia. The CSF is cloudy and purulent in appearance. Focus on this, it's purulent in appearance and shows increased number of neutrophils along with raised protein and increased glucose levels. So looking for the clues, the age is 6 years old child with fever, alteration of consciousness. Whenever there is alteration of consciousness, think about a pathology of central nervous system. It's an acute onset problem with headache, photophobia. All are the features of meningitis. CSF is cloudy and purulent. We have discussed that in bacterial meningitis, the appearance of CSF is purulent in appearance and shows increased numbers of neutrophils along with raised proteins and decreased glucose. Decreased glucose shows that this might be bacterial meningitis, as the bacteria eat glucose and there are decreased glucose levels in CSF. What is your diagnosis? It's bacterial meningitis. And give the common organisms in this age group. In this age group, I told you that in every other age group except neonates and adolescents, the organism is Streptococcus pneumoniae. The most frequent organism we find is Streptococcus pneumoniae. So the organisms may be number 1 Streptococcus pneumoniae, number 2 Neisseria meningitidis, and number 3 Haemophilus influenzae. What are the other causes of this disease? The other causes can be, this is bacterial meningitis. The other causes may be aseptic meningitis caused by viral infections, chemical meningitis caused by any irritant in the CSF, chronic meningitis due to tuberculosis, spirochetal infection and cryptococcus rickettsial, parasitic or protozoal causes, and by physical injury and cancer. Tumors of CNS. Majority of the tumors are primary tumors, 1/4 to half are metastatic. Tumors of CNS account for nearly 20% of all cancers of childhood. Childhood tumors mostly arise in posterior fossa and adults in cerebral hemispheres. So how these tumors are graded? According to WHO, these tumors are graded in from grade 1 to 4. Grade 1 tumors are well differentiated. Grade 4 tumors are poorly differentiated. So how these tumors are classified? Remember, beta, what are the structures of brain? How the brain is formed? Brain is formed of neurons. The neurons are covered by sheaths, glial cells, and all this brain matter is covered by meninges. So whenever the tumors arise, they can arise from these structures. So the tumors that arise from glial tissue are called gliomas. The tumors of neurons can also be there. These are the tumors of the neurons. There may be mixed tumors with glial and neuronal component. They may be poorly differentiated and embryonal tumors, tumors of the meninges, peripheral nerve sheath tumors, and miscellaneous tumors. So the tumors of the giant cells, or they are called gliomas, can be classified into astrocytoma, oligodendroglioma, and ependymoma. Tumors of neurons can be gangliocytoma, neuroblastoma, ganglioneurocytoma, gliomatosis cerebri, cerebral neuroblastoma, central neurocytoma. So there may be mixed tumors, poorly differentiated tumors. Tumors of the meninges are called meningiomas, and peripheral nerve sheath tumors that are schwannoma, neurofibroma, malignant nerve sheath tumors, and so on, and the miscellaneous tumors. So we will discuss the very important tumors only. You have to study all the tumors from your books. So the tumors of the glial tissues in gliomas, we will discuss only astrocytoma. Astrocytoma can occur at any age. It can be found anywhere from the cerebral hemisphere to spinal cord. Tumors range from grade 1 to grade 4. Grade 1 are well differentiated, grade 4 are poorly differentiated. So what are the types of astrocytomas? The most common types are diffusely infiltrating astrocytomas and localized, most commonly they are pilocytic astrocytomas. So diffusely infiltrating and localized astrocytomas. Those that are localized, as the name indicates, they are grade 1 out of 4. There are 4 grades, so they are grade 1. Those that are diffusely infiltrating astrocytomas, they are further classified as diffuse astrocytoma, that is grade 2, anaplastic astrocytoma grade 3, and glioblastoma grade 4. So localized is grade 1. From diffusely infiltrating astrocytomas, they can be classified in diffuse, anaplastic, and glioblastomas. Diffuse are grade 2, anaplastic are grade 3, and glioblastomas are grade 4. Beta, remember this glioblastoma, this is very important. Glioblastoma grade 4. Diffuse infiltrating astrocytomas account for 80% of primary adult brain tumors. The presenting signs and symptoms include seizures, headache, and focal neurological deficits related to the anatomic site of involvement. They can be classified into 3 groups. Diffuse astrocytoma, as we have already discussed, diffused, anaplastic, and glioblastoma. Diffused astrocytoma are of grade 2, anaplastic are grade 3, and glioblastomas are grade 4 tumors. So grossly, how astrocytomas look like? They are poorly differentiated gray infiltrative tumors that expand or distorts the invaded brain. As you can see, this is a tumor area, but you cannot differentiate where are the boundaries of this tumor. So these are gray, poorly defined gray infiltrative tumors that expands or distorts the invaded brain. It distorts the invaded hemisphere. So the size, as you can see in this, you cannot put boundaries to the tumor because it is diffusely infiltrative. So the size varies from few centimeters to large masses which can replace the hemisphere. Uncut section is firm or soft, and gelatinous cystic degeneration can be seen. Tumors can appear well demarcated but infiltration beyond the outer margin are always present. So on microscopy, mild to moderate increase in the number of glial cell nuclei. Tumor cells are in the form of stellate spindle-shaped cells with fiber-like processes. As you can see, these are the spindle-shaped cells, spindle-shaped cells, and with the fiber-like processes. Intervening feltwork of fine GFAP, GFAP positive astrocytic cell processes that give the background a fibrillary appearance. This is the fibrillary appearance. These are the astrocytic cell processes. Glioblastoma. Glioblastoma is grade 4. Glioblastoma is firm white area and soft yellow areas due to necrosis, and other areas show necrosis and hemorrhage. This is glioblastoma. This show necrosis and hemorrhage. On microscopy, is that same as that of anaplastic astrocytoma with additional feature of necrosis and vascular endothelial cell proliferation. Necrosis occur in serpentine pattern in areas of cellularity. Tumor cells collect along the edges of the necrosis, producing pseudopalisading. Beta, these blue, I have put blue color on these. These are the keywords of glioblastoma. On gross, you can see necrosis, hemorrhage. On microscopy, you can also find necrosis in serpentine pattern and the pseudopalisading edges of the necrosis, tumor cells around the necrosis. So these are the keywords. Now coming towards the localized astrocytoma, that is pilocytic astrocytoma. As we have already discussed, it's localized, so it's grade 1. Grade 1 have relatively benign behavior. It is seen in children and young adults. It is localized in the cerebellum. On grossly, they are well circumscribed, cystic, with a mural nodule in wall of the cyst. As you can see, they are well circumscribed and they give a cystic appearance. On microscopy, the tumor is composed of bipolar cells with long, thin, hair-like processes that are GFAP positive. That are GFAP positive, rosenthal fibers, eosinophilic granular bodies, and microcysts are often present. Necrosis and mitosis are rare. So these are, you can see the hair-like, these pink are hair-like processes that are GFAP positive. Question: a 60-year-old male presented with headache along with a large intracranial neoplasm. On radiology, the tumor shows ring pattern. The biopsy examination shows tumor is high grade along with areas of necrosis and palisading of tumor cells with increased mitotic activity. We have already discussed. It's a 60 years old male and old age male with headache. Large intracranial neoplasm is identified. On radiology, the tumor shows ring pattern. On biopsy, it's a high-grade tumor which has necrosis and palisading of tumor cells. I have already told you that palisading is seen in glioblastomas that are grade 4 tumors with increased mitotic activity. What is your likely diagnosis? The diagnosis is it's glioblastoma. Give the grading of this tumor. This tumor is grade 4 tumor. Give the classification of CNS tumors. We have already discussed the classification of CNS tumors. Now meningioma. As the name indicates, meningioma arises from the tumor that arises from meninges. Meninges are the covering of brain and spinal cord. So meningiomas are mostly grade 1 tumors. Meningiomas are grade 1 tumors. They are predominantly benign tumors of adults, usually attached to the dura, that arise from the meningothelial cell of the arachnoid. Common sites of involvement include parasagittal aspect of the brain convexity, dura over the lateral convexity, wing of the sphenoid, olfactory groove, that is sella turcica, foramen magnum, and ectopic meningiomas. So on macroscopically or on gross, we can see the rounded masses with bossylated or polypoid appearance. As you can see, this is meningioma in this picture. The extension into the overlying bone may be present. The surface of the mass is usually encapsulated. Usually they displace brain tissue without invading it. Some meningiomas grow flat on the surface of the brain. So on microscopically, the meningiomas can be divided into different types. You have to memorize all these types. What are the types? You can be asked what are the types of meningioma, so you should know the names. They can be syncytial, fibroblastic, semomatous, secretory, transitional, microcystic, atypical, anaplastic, papillary, and rhabdoid. So as the name indicates, there is morphology according to their names. So if there is syncytial meningioma, as the name indicates, the cells are present in the whorls or clusters. So there is whorl clusters of cells in syncytial meningiomas. In fibroblastic meningiomas, the elongated cells and abundant collagen deposition is seen. As the name indicates, fibroblastic, the elongated cells with abundant collagen deposition makes the fibroblastic meningioma. Semomatous have, as the name shows, semoma bodies, apparently forming from calcification of the syncytial nests of meningothelial cells. So you should remember what is semomatous type of meningiomas. They show numerous semoma bodies. The secretory type are PS positive, intracytoplasmic droplets, and intracellular lumens by electron microscopy. Transitional, which share features of the syncytial and fibroblastic types. These two types, syncytial whorled pattern and the fibroblastic, the collagen deposition type. These two types, when they come together, they form the transitional type of meningiomas. They share the features of syncytial and fibroblastic types. In microcystic with loose spongy appearance, as the name indicates, microcystic, cystic. So it's the loose spongy appearance. In other types are atypical, anaplastic, papillary, and rhabdoid types. So this is, beta, you can see in this microscopy the whorled pattern of meningioma. The cells are present in whorls in circular pattern. So this is for all for today's SGD. Beta, this is your assignment. Please complete your notebooks and note down your assignments in your copies. So see you next time. Okay. Allah Hafiz. Allah bless you.
मैडम दा ना यार
कैट पढ़ बंदी है
देखो हाँ जी सर वो मैम खत्म कर गई है लेक्चर हेलो सर आवाज नहीं आ रही आपको
सर वो मिस्टेक हो गई ठीक है सर